All right. And there's Sarah. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can get started. Okay, can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Welcome to the RRHIMA mid-year business meeting. It's going to run from 12 to 1. We'll have a hard stop right at 1. I wanted to introduce or list the different board members that we have this year, 2024 to 2025 board of directors. I'm the president, Penny. Our president-elect is Sally Deming. She's will be in about 12:30. She had a meeting pop up. Past president is Mary. Mary, can you wave?
Hi, can everybody see me?
Yeah, we can see you.
Okay, great.
Our director of membership engagement is Lisa. She too had a meeting today, is unable to make it, but she's a great member of our team. Director of communications is Stephanie. Stephanie, can you wave? Thank you. And then our second year co-education director is Denise Perry. Denise, can you wave, please? Hi, Denise.
Hello.
And our first year director, co-director of education is Melissa. Melissa, can you wave?
Hi.
Hi to Melissa. And then we have our director of finance, Brandy. Can you wave, Brandy?
Morning.
Morning, Brandy. And finally, our student representative is Sarah, and she is with us today. Sarah, can you wave, please?
Hello.
Hi, thank you for coming today. Okay, the first thing we want to talk about is our strategic plan, which we put in place in 2023, and it runs through 2025. We have recently, it was put together, like I said, in 2023, but we have met recently to go over it and update it. And in our board of directors meetings, we look through and go take one growth area, a meeting, and see how we're doing with that, and so we can stay on point with the strategic plan. The mission is the Rochester Regional Health Information Management Association promotes professional excellence and provides growth opportunities for its members and the region. Our vision is to be recognized, to be the recognized association and recognize experts in the management of health information in the region. And our strategic plan was built around 4 main goals: identify and develop leaders for RRHIMA and the profession. Second, sustain a strong infrastructure to support RRHIMA operations. Third, provide cost-effective educational programs that meet AHIMA core content areas and emerging roles. And finally, fourth, grow membership and engage members through volunteering and networking opportunities. We have, oops, sorry, gotta go back. We have an active membership right now. Currently, we're still growing a little bit here, but we have an active membership of 75 members. And as student members, we have 4. This is lower than it used to be, but the last couple of years it's been tough with MCC closing down their program. But I think last year we had 6. So one of our special focuses this year is on recruiting student members, and that's being led up by our director of membership engagement, Lisa Boyle. And we're trying to do as much as we can to get more students in. We have an online membership renewal form on the RRHIMA website. It must be filled out every year. And I would like to ask you in the audience to please encourage professional colleagues and coworkers who are not members to join or who were former members to renew. And the next thing up is for Brandy. Brandy, take it away.
Good morning. So the finance report, nothing's really changed here. Just make sure when you add your checks or your PayPal to put something in the memo box. There's a spot on PayPal and your checks because a lot of things overlap and sometimes are the same price, just so I know where to put it in our pivot tables and where it's going. And make sure when you register for something that it's paid within a timely manner. So I don't have to track anybody down.
Oops, sorry.
So this was our most recent pivot table on our finance report. We have $500 that went to NYHIMA. We're co-sponsoring a coffee break for them in June, I think is the meeting for NYHIMA. And then it's a little hard to see, a little small, but this is the budget as of January. Nothing's really changed since the last business meeting. We don't have anything coming out. Last year, I know we did the laptop, so that was a pretty big purchase, but we don't really have any big purchases this year. I think
Next
that's
up
it.
is, do you have anything more, Brandy?
Nope, I think that's it.
Okay, next up is Stephanie with the communications report.
Good afternoon. RRHIMA member spotlight featured on the RRHIMA website. I believe they were both written by our, she's kind of like our social media person named Sarah Hasselstrom. In September, it was on Mary Pazak, and in January, it was on Darlene McKendrick. Past member spotlights include Lori Lazoo and Donna Bernard, and they can be found right on our website still under the news. We're always looking for members to interview, so if you have anyone in mind, please reach out. And we're also looking for a new roving reporter. So if you're interested in helping out, that would be super helpful. We still continue to use our social media platforms, Facebook and LinkedIn, to share our events or other relevant information in the field. And if you use any other social media, we're interested in branching out if it is something that our members are interested in doing. The RRHIMA website is updated regularly. It always has all of our updated information regarding our special interest groups and education webinars. Make sure you log in to renew your membership and you can see all the members only content. Our Gmail is still the same, rrhima1@gmail.com. I have the email distribution lists all updated regularly. I try to do it weekly. We keep them updated in your profile. Oh, please keep your email updated in your RRHIMA website to let us know if any changes, and that way we make sure you're getting the email notifications.
Next up for us is Denise and Melissa for the education report.
Hi, I'm Melissa. Our education report, we have got 6 speakers for the 2025 spring webinar series. We're just going to kick it off February 18th, 2025 with Dr. Mead on how a physician thinks. March 4th, 2025, we have Kevin Tedesco, Haney's Sparks Audit Reports. On March 18th, 2025, we have Ron Kinnis for Finance 101 from a CFO's perspective. Next slide. There we go. April 1st, 2025, we have Leslie Slater for coding and CDI for substance abuse disorder. April 15th, 2025 for Jesse Duran, leadership evaluations. And our last one is April 29th, 2025 for Dr. Governor with case mix index, a deeper dive.
Thank
We
you.
are looking for help or suggestions on topics that you would like to see next fall that would help us out tremendously to find speakers. Thanks.
One thing I just wanted to add that we encountered this year from the education team is there was a lot more trouble with the members being able to access the information that's sent after the webinar. So after the webinar, they get the presentation, they get the YouTube link, the slides, that information. We did find that some of the IT departments at facilities just were blocking and they couldn't change that block. So we did have in the registration form this year just a note for people to really think about what email address they're going to use to register and then receive information post webinar, because we were not able to successfully get the link sent out to them. They're just, with all the trouble that people are having with ransom attacks, anything with a Google link, some of the instructions or some of the policies are now that the IT departments will block those. So if you know of somebody who's had trouble, that could be the issue. We really did have a lot of trouble with people being able to receive the information. Hopefully we'll fix that with getting a different email address.
Okay, thank you for that. That's great information. Membership engagement, our director of membership engagement is Lisa Boyle. Like I said, she had a meeting today, so she couldn't make it. But I'm gonna fill in for her and just read off a few things here. Our membership goal this year is going to, we are like just really close to getting it, but it is 70, oops, sorry. I'm going all over the place. $75 active members, and this does not include the board members. So that is our goal membership level. Right as of 1/25, we currently have a total of 61 dues paying members, 6 emeritus members, and 4 student members, as I mentioned, and 8 board members. So we have a little ways to go with reaching that 75. We do have 11 brand new members this year to RRHIMA. They've all received welcome packets that give them an overview of our organization. And that's something that Lisa created. And recently our member survey went out about a week ago, and we asked that you take the time to complete the survey so we can get feedback on how we're doing, and also information about maybe something where, like Stephanie mentioned earlier, you know, maybe you would want us to see us on a different social media platform or an extra social media platform. So we're looking for feedback from you. So please fill that out. Special interest groups. Coder SIG, Mary.
Hi. Coder SIGs meet 3 to 4 times a year via Zoom, and it's free to attend. All RRHIMA dues paying and emeritus members get one CEU through RRHIMA or AAPC for attending. This year's meetings, one was September 25th, and we had ICD-10 coding updates presented by ours truly, Communications Director Stephanie Drager, who works at the University of Rochester Medical Center as a senior medical coder. There were 40 registrants for the coding SIG meeting, and out of that total, 110 included the host and of course the presenter. On December 16th was our next coding SIG, which was a professional coders panel for Q&A. And that was hosted by Darlene McKendrick. The three members that were on the panel were myself, Penny Hankins, President, Brandy Alkemander, Finance Director, and Ann Ortolazzo. Our next coding SIG hopefully will be in March of this year.
Okay, great. And then the next code or SIG that we want to talk about that we have is the LTC long-term care SIG. This SIG meets quarterly on the third Tuesday of the month from 2 to 4 via Zoom, and is a hybrid approach. It is in person and Zoom. They are able to make it where they meet up at like Monroe Community Hospital or other places and have the meeting for 2 hours. And then in addition, they will have a computer on so they can Zoom in other people that can't be there in person. So I think that's really great. And they've been going on for many, many years now. Like I said, the third Tuesday, and it meets quarterly. The next.
Penny, do you mind if I jump in really quick?
Sure.
So I just want to share, we recently, myself and Mary, she is the coordinator of this group. We collaboratively worked together and we came up with a idea to reach out because we're trying to build membership in our long-term care SIG as well. And so we sent out mass mailings to all of the local long-term care facilities in the Rochester area. I believe in end of December or beginning of January. And we opened it up to other areas that impact health information management. So like MDS coordinators, some billing staff, things of that nature. And we have actually increased our membership a little bit. We're continuing to push that drive. So if you know individuals that are in a long-term care facility, and even if they don't work in the traditional HIM department, they have to do with HIM or coding, we would love to have them attend with us.
That's great. I'm glad to hear that your efforts have improved your membership a little bit, and I'm sure it will continue to grow. The next SIG that we have is a professional development SIG. This one's brand new, has not met yet. We'll be meeting in February. Right now, we're trying to find speakers. We're trying to find speakers for the meeting, and so stay tuned. We'd like to meet 3 to 4 times a year. Basically, this is a SIG that's going to deal with people who want to advance in their career. So it will talk, they'll have discussions about different educational opportunities, certification, and such things like that. So those are the type of speakers we're looking for this SIG. So if you know anybody that would like to speak on educating themselves in their career so they can move forward, please let us know. And then the next slide is our student representative, Sarah.
Hello. So a little bit about me. Currently, I work for the University of Rochester within the Release of Information Department. I graduated back in 2024 from SUNY Alfred, and I am now still studying with the Rochester Regional Community Technical College in Rochester, Minnesota, not Rochester, New York, for my oncology data specialist certification program. I have just finished up my abstracting class, and I'm currently working on the last official book class, kind of called follow-up. It's what the back end of things. So once patients have completed their first or second rounds of chemo and treatment, we kind of follow up and see the outcomes of those and follow the patient basically until they do pass, whether that's prematurely or at the end of, when they're much older. Then I will go from that into my professional experience, which I hope to do within the RMC group. I've spoken to a couple of people in that group, so we should be getting me set up for that to move to oncology eventually.
Great. Thank you for that, Sarah. I just wanted to announce that we're going to be having our annual meeting coming up as we do every year. This year is going to be on May 1st from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We're just getting started with, we're going to be meeting in early February. We've got a committee formed to put together the annual meeting like we did last year. It's going to stay at the Eagleville Golf Club in Fairport. The theme has not been decided yet because, as I said, we're just going to get started meeting here. I think February 5th is our first meeting as a committee. So we will come up with a theme. Volunteers are needed to be on the planning team for the meeting. So if you know anyone or you yourself would like to be help for the annual meeting, please let us know. You can contact us at our general email that's listed on the screen there. And for volunteers, we're always looking for volunteers. In particular, we're always looking for speakers for our webinars and SIG meetings. That's something that we work with and work really hard to find speakers. But if you know someone that would like to speak, has a specialty that they're really into, please let us know. We also need volunteers for our nominations and election committee. That's coming up. The nominations and election will be coming up toward the end of March. And we definitely need people that help us out in finding people to run for the different offices that we have available. And then finally, as I said, the annual meeting planning committee. We do have a small committee right now of a few people, but anyone else that is interested in the annual meeting planning is welcome. So please email us at RRHIMA1@gmail.com if you are interested in doing that. And then this last slide, I'm not going to read it, but these are the ways to get in touch with us. We just within the last year got, I guess you would call vanity emails. So we have like president@rrhima.org, education@rrhima.org, and so forth. So if you want to get a hold of any of us, this is how you do that. Our main RRHIMA1@gmail.com will always get to any of us. So that's it. And I also wanted to list the website. We've got a contact form on there. And of course, you can always reach us through Facebook if you want to direct message us through there, or LinkedIn too. Okay, that's the end of our RRHIMA business meeting. Are there any questions? If not,
This isn't a question, but I was just letting you know that we did have someone sign up while I was out too. So we have one more member.
oh, really? So
I
we're
just-
up to 76.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I'm going to stop sharing so we can now move on to the NYHIMA portion of this meeting and have our president of NYHIMA, Jeffrey Youngs, welcome. And let me know if you can share your screen.
Okay, well, good afternoon, everyone. Let me see how this does it. everyone see that okay?
Yep, thank you.
Coming across weird because I do a monitor, so it's got presentation and then the edit screen of it. So, well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Penny and board, for asking me to come speak today. It's my pleasure. We'll go ahead and do our January update. I do have some things I'll add as context. We're still trying to work on digesting the information that we received last week from NYHIMA, but I'll go over that here shortly. So this is our current board. So we have myself, Stacy as past president-elect, Carolyn as past president, and then our education directors is Leslie and Karen Getman, Sandy Massisa is our finance, and then Lance as our advocacy. This is where it gets kind of hairy of a situation. So NYHIMA, so this is as of the end of the year. So this is as of December 31st. Our income was 53,000, expenses were 64,000 and 64,000. And then we had the net loss of 11,000. So this has been, so finances have been a pain point for NYHIMA for a couple of different reasons. One that we knew of that was our own doing was the fact that we moved to a new central office management company. So what we had to do is, it was recommended at the time, the bank that we were with had some issues that the new company recommended us not continuing to work with them just because some of their security and their fraud protection issues. So we had decided as a board to move the money over. What we had done is we moved a portion of it over to the new company to start operating under that one. Having money and expenses still coming out of the old one, it kind of sat there for a little bit, but the new company did add it into our current function. So we looked like we were lopsided a little bit. So we figured that out. We moved it over, combined the two of those. We still were running as a deficit. We couldn't figure out what had changed so much. So we started looking into it, and obviously one of our biggest income is our membership, whether it's from NYHIMA as part of the rebate that we get on a monthly basis. So for those of you not familiar, the rebate is when you renew your membership with NYHIMA and you select NYHIMA as your CA or your state association, then we get a percentage of that back to NYHIMA. And then we have our NYHIMA membership dues. Our NYHIMA dues were looking pretty fair, but for some reason we've seen a decrease in the money from NYHIMA. So we were trying to digest and figure that out. Well, we couldn't see what was going on. So they had a CA meeting last week with NYHIMA to the CAs with the new leadership team, which for those of you that are not aware, NYHIMA does have some interim leadership, such as their CEO. She came on a couple of years ago as a consultant, and then she was appointed when the last CEO resigned. I think it was Kevin Cooner. She stepped in to fill that role on an interim basis. Boy, did she step into a mess. There's a lot of technical issues. I know I was talking with Denise earlier. She was going to say that she has encountered some experience, technical problems with NYHIMA. NYHIMA is aware of those. So that's where a lot of the meeting late last week came into play, was they were breaking down some of the issues. So probably about 4 or 5 years ago, from my understanding, NYHIMA IT department came up to a point that they said the current system they were using for membership renewals, the rebates, certification, that's all bundled into one system component. There's one vendor that kind of runs that whole piece. They were aging themselves out and they weren't able to keep up. So NYHIMA knew at that time that they had to find a solution. So they had selected a solution on a vendor that promised them the world. They signed with them, they moved with them. After 2 years of building the new system, it was never put into place because it wasn't working. So NYHIMA made a decision with the past leadership that said, we need to put a focus on it. We need to roll this out. We purchased it. We're under contract. We need to make this work. So they started working with a vendor. Needless to say, they put it into effect the beginning of last year, I believe it was. So it's been about a year. Since then, it's been a disaster. They've had a problem that started back in 2023, late 2023, with their calculations on their rebates, which, as I mentioned earlier, that's what that we receive some of our rebates from NYHIMA. So we had, that was one of the issues they had. They also mentioned it was with the renewals and people being able to renew. So they decided, the new leadership had decided that they needed to basically stop the bleeding. So what they did is they rolled back some of the requirements. So like there's that, I think it was a 40-60 requirement on your CEUs where you're required to get so many from AHIMA or one of their partners, like just like NYHIMA or the locals. You have to get so much from them, and then you get the rest from other resources. So they rolled that back because people can't submit their recertification. They can't submit certain things. There's technical ones. So they rolled that back. They did not give us a date and time. They said they would not re-roll it out, which they do plan on rolling it out. So it's something we need to be mindful of. But they are going to be they're going to be rolling back some of those, and then the intent to bring it back at a later date once they worked out some of the systems. They've also decided to go back to for the CAs, because some states are not a dues-paying state, like New York and California, and I believe it's Texas are all dues-paying states. The rest rely solely on AHIMA's rebates. So they decided to basically support the locals and to help us be basically manageable and be able to operate as we had. They went back to the 2023 rebates. So they're basically giving NYHIMA our rebates based on what our numbers were in 2023, because that's when that was before the problem. So now we're starting to get that. So we saw just in January for our contributions from January a significant jump. So when I was talking to Mike yesterday, he had said, we haven't had a payment from NYHIMA for $12,000 in a long time. So it's good that we're seeing that. So Mike is going back to look at some of our numbers to see with Sandy to see what we can figure out from a pattern to see if we can readjust our budget so it reflects the new, the rebates and all that accordingly. So it's been a bit of a hassle. So that's what AHIMA is doing today to help us. So we're hoping that this will rectify some of our financial issues that we've been having. So that's part of the reason that our last year's report hasn't been finalized yet, because we were running at a negative and we knew we were a negative, but we couldn't figure out why the negative is. So now we have that. We can't go back. AHIMA is going to fix the issue, but we can't go back and fix it on our side because we didn't have that revenue at that time. So we have to close up basically 2024 as a negative, but hopefully this year we'll see a positive. So what they're doing is if they're overpaid, so like if our numbers aren't the same as they are in 2023, we may owe them back some of the rebate money. But if our numbers in 2025 were higher, or 2024 and 2025 are higher than they were in 23, we'll get that difference. So it's just a catch-up game AHIMA's trying to play. They have no time frame. They did tell us that they are hopeful to have some answers in February because they gave them a deadline. So basically AHIMA is backed into a corner because if the vendor backs out, then we lose 100% of the functionality. So we have some functionality today. If the vendor backs out, we have nothing to fall back on because the old system is no longer compatible. They're not able to, because someone I guess on the call, one of the CAs had asked that, like, why not bring back the old one, put that in place until this new one's ready? They said that's not an option. That's not even a doable function, apparently, my understanding. So that's the reason why they're trying to work with this vendor. So they're trying to walk a thin line. But they did tell them that if they do not rectify the issue or give them a solution to rectify the issue by a certain time frame, they didn't disclose what the time frame was, they would have to proceed with legal actions. So AHIMA is well aware that this could jeopardize some of our membership, could jeopardize, people renewing. There were, people on the call saying, that they're hearing from their members in their state thinking they need to look elsewhere because it's required to be certified for their employer. And if they're not able to pay the renewals, it's a bad combination. So there's a lot of things AHIMA is aware of and they're trying to address. So this was the first part that we've had in a long time. But again, there's a new CEO in place and she's been very transparent so far. So I was very impressed with her transparency to us. So we had a better understanding of what's going on and what they're doing to rectify the issue. So long story, this is part of the reason why we are showing in 2024 for December a loss of $11,000. So we should be in a good spot where we're actually on the plus side if the rebates are corrected to the amount that we were anticipating to get from NYHIMA. So, and I'm happy to answer any questions. I know that was a lot to digest, but there was a lot of information that they gave us last week on an hour call. So again, we're appreciative of NYHIMA for their transparency and working through these issues. But they did say they had, so if you do call, they did say they have about 10,000 current tickets open with them. So yeah, so it's they're swimming, and they've, you know, I guess they've had people ask to help, and they said that it's really a lot of training and there's a lot of steps to the process, I guess. So it's not as easy to get volunteers to help with those issues, but they said they're hopeful that they'll work through them. They have all hands on deck. So this is NYHIMA's strategic plan. This will be a year. So this is not new. This is the same one that we've had for the last couple of years. But now that we're moving into 2025, this is the end of our vision and our strategic plan. Typically, so we have the cultivate, shape, and transform. I believe there'll be some aspects of that that'll carry forward for the next few years. But historically, NYHIMA's always looked to follow the path of AHIMA. So right now, we haven't had direction from AHIMA on what their strategic plan is going to look like going forward too. So this is one thing we're watching to see now with interim leadership and some of the changes going on at AHIMA. We're watching to see what the impact, if any, this will have on us and how we're shaping the future forward. So we know there's a lot of opportunities, but we need to follow, suit with AHIMA to see what they're doing, to increase our membership, support our members, listening to our members as we grow forward. That's the only way that we're going to be stronger forward. So hopefully we'll have more information on that soon. So this is our NYHIMA membership dues that we're at right now. So for active members, we have 415. That's why I got the 445. That was from 2023. So we're at 415. Emeritus, we have 30. Students at 201. So that's a strong number. So we're happy to see that our student activity is increasing. And then our corporate members, this fluctuates usually around the time of the conference. So we might see a couple more, but to have 2 already, I think, that's usually where we kind of end up being at. So we have put some great effort. I believe some of the RRHIMA members are part of the membership committee that we have formed. So they've been working closely on that and trying to get some activity going, trying new things. I know they're the final steps, I believe, right now of the membership survey. I have seen it, so I know that should be coming out. So I encourage you to please take advantage of completing that survey. So it gives the committee back some helpful information to engage our membership and hopefully continue to build that going forward. This is some of the advocacy events that Lance had. He will be attending the Hill Day in Washington, D.C. in March. He'll be the only one from the board that'll be representing him. But I know, I'm drawing a blank now, I apologize, but I think there's someone from Rochester Regional or Strong. I'm not sure which one, but I know she attended last year, was her first year. And I know she did reach out to myself and Lance, and she's planning on attending this year. So we'll have, as far as I know right now, we'll have 2 representatives from New York. So so that'll be more to come on that. I will share these up with Penny, so she has the slide deck, but there's links in here to some of the initiatives that are currently going on with the patient ID, the Action Center, Body of Knowledge, some of the lawsuits that are currently underway. And there's been no response yet on representatives for the New York State Hill Day. Lance as well does have an advocacy committee, so if this is in your wheelhouse, I think I heard someone mention earlier that they're involved with the release of information. Advocacy is a great way to get involved. Lance is a wealth of knowledge, and he's always eager to share that. So I encourage you, if that's something in your wheelhouse, to take advantage of it and join the committee. I think they meet once a month. I won't go through and read all of these, but this is some of the offerings that we've had so far. So far. And then we have some of our current ones that are going to be coming up. That one already passed. On the AI, that's going to be on February 5th. I know there's other ones in the works right now. And as far as education, NYHIMA is working on creating a library per se, where if you're unable to attend or maybe you missed, that there was a denial management webinar, you'll actually be able to go through and purchase that webinar after the event. So there will be, as a part of our, our initiative to build revenue, right? Because we're trying to close that financial gap. This was one of the opportunities that we thought we would try to do. So what we did is we took some of our most recent ones, and then each of the board members went through and come up with questions. So there are some questions that you have to answer following it, but you'll receive the CEU, the slides, and the recording, just as you would if you attended the live session. So we'll be rolling that out here soon. I know the central office has been working around the clock trying to get that going for us. So I know everything's been submitted, so hopefully soon we'll have that announcement as well, which we're very excited about. We've talked about it for years, but we've never brought it to fruition just because of the the quiz component of it that has to be completed to make sure that you've attended the session. Our social media numbers. So we are on LinkedIn, Facebook, and X. So these are our numbers. So if you see anything on Facebook, this is what we follow. If you like it, if you share it, these are the numbers that we're watching. So if you see anything, or if Rochester has anything they want to spotlight on the NYHIMA page, they can send it in too. We're also trying to look at ways to increase activity. I know Rochester does a great job with their social media account. I often see, typically, I think from Rochester, I'll see it on LinkedIn when they're sharing things. And I know recently they spotlighted their board members, which I think is pretty cool too. So kudos to Rochester for that. So that's some of the efforts that NYHIMA needs to work on that we're trying to build up as well too. So, but it looks like it's growing. I think a lot of our members, Facebook is our biggest one too. So this year we are in a new territory. We will be in Alexandria Bay, New York. So it's right on the Thousand Islands. If anybody has not been to Alex Bay before, but this is where our conference will be, June 1st to the 4th. We're planning a couple different things. So we did hear from our committee members, that are some of our attendees, that they like the old format. If you went last year, we changed the format of the conference. We did that from a financial perspective because food and beverage is high when you're in a hotel, and it gets very costly. So we tried to cut back on some of that. The Bonnie Castle has been very flexible in working with us. So we were able to kind of adapt our schedule and go back to the old way. We did try to make some other changes, so we'll see if that helps kind of offset some of the expenses. And we are trying a few different things as well. So if any of you have heard, or if you've ever Hart Island or Bolt Castle, which is a beautiful place on the St. Lawrence. On Sunday, we're actually going to be doing a private gathering. It was actually one of the board members that said she's always wanted to go to the castle, and shame on her if she has to go to a conference and stare at it for 4 days and never go over there. Then it'd be sad for her or a loss on her part. So what we thought was a lot of people might feel that way. So what we thought is Sunday, before our activities get going, we thought we would have an add-on option. So if members wanted to come in a little bit early and go over with a group of friends, we'll meet there, because on the way into the hotel and the campus there, you'll go right by the boat tour place. So you'll be able to park your car there, you'll be able to go on the boat tour, do the tour, and then still be able to drive right up a little bit further and then check into the hotel. So we're going to do that ahead of time. And just like I said, it's a group of friends. We'll all go over together, tour the castle on your own, and then come back. This is a shuttle taxi service, so it just brings you right from the dock there to the castle and back. And it's a short little trip for anybody that hasn't been. And then we'll have a welcome reception on Sunday evening. We are planning an offsite social event on Monday. We'll actually be going and doing what they call the Two Nation Tour. So it's, again, we'll all load the boat. The boat will dock at the hotel. We would load there, and then we would tour the St. Lawrence, and they call it the Two Nations because it brings you into the Canadian waters. So that's why they call it the Two Nation Tour. So hopefully we're hopeful for a nice evening then. There's a typo there because our awards banquet will be on Tuesday as it has historically. So all 3 nights, we've got fun activities planned, games, trivia, and just a lot of fun. So we're hoping to see all of you there for that. Again, ways to get involved. I know Rochester mentioned earlier, they're contributing a sponsorship part. It is a fun, I think Rochester, this is a normal slide we've been there, but I know Rochester I think it's been 3 years. I think Rochester was the first local to host coming out of the pandemic. So this is no surprise to anybody that was involved in that. We are struggling right now, as I mentioned, food and beverage is a problem with the hotels. So before COVID, we were actually going to go down to the Terrytown area. And we also had a contract at the time, at the early stages of the pandemic. We also had a hotel contract in Buffalo, downtown Buffalo. Both hotels, one, I'm not sure which one but one were canceled because of the state mandate that you couldn't have any large gatherings. So that was one we were able to get out of, and that was Terrytown, I believe. And I think the one in downtown Buffalo closed. So we were able to get out of both of those contracts. The problem that we're at now is we're looking at next 2026 conference venues, and we wanted to go back to downstate. Long Island is very expensive. It's, it costs more to travel to. We acknowledge that. New York City is extremely expensive, so that's really never been an option. And then we thought Terrytown, their prices are still very high there too, being a short distance out of there. So we're thinking of shying away from there. So right now we're looking to Western right now as a potential option. I think you all are aware that Western had some challenges, and they're still trying to get their feet under them and get back to normal operations there. So we're still trying to struggle on where 26 will be. But it's fun to host a conference. They pick each of the locals, they pick an arrangements chair and a programs chair. They lead those with the committee. I know Rochester's, like I said, I won't preach because I know Rochester's done a great job and done it for many years. So more to come on that here soon when we start planning 2026, because once one ends, the other one starts. We still have nominations open for 2025 and 2026. So if anybody is interested, usually by this time we have it closed out. I think, as everyone knows, it's harder to get recruits and get people to serve in these longer committed roles. So we're still trying to reach out to members to get some commitments that they'd be willing and interested to run for these. Some we've got a couple people, some we've got one, some we have none. So we're still trying to finish those out. We're hopeful to have that done. I know we're getting much closer. So this is basically a last call kind of attempt. To anybody on the call that might be interested in one of these roles. The president chair-elect, that's the only one that's a 3-year term. The other finance director, education director, and a NYHIMA delegate at large, those are 2-year terms. And then the NYHIMA awards committee, that's a 1-year term. So NYHIMA the awards committee is a very small time commitment. Usually you'll meet probably shortly now, soon they'll start meeting to review some of the nominations, and you as the committee actually pick the award recipients based on the nominations. So it's a small commitment, but it's meaningful to our members to recognize those that have been nominated for the positions. So if anybody's interested, the nomination form is still open. Local leaders meeting. So we do have a save the date. Typically we invite 2 from each of the locals. That's usually the president and the president-elect will normally attend. We have the 2 that fall in the spring. So right now our tentative date for our spring one is Monday, April 14th. So more information to come on that, and we'll get an invite out. So I know Rochester usually attends that as well, but just a little shout out that we will have that planned and buttoned up here soon. CLA updates. Again, this is just normal, keeping NYHIMA involved and know what's going on, if any updates to the bylaws, any educational events that you want us, need our assistance with. And then, anything that's updated for your board, committees, any updates like that. If you want to send them over to NYHIMA Cap Hill, we'll go ahead and make sure we've updated them on the NYHIMA website, which all the locals have a spot there in the page for their contacts and their updates for their leadership. These are our committees that we have. So if anybody's interested in serving in any of these, we have our membership committee, which is active. It is going. It's been kind of stagnant, I'll say, in the last couple of years. Not as much activity as we have this year. So we're excited to see that momentum. Education, that's always been reoccurring. I think Donna Bernard, I'm not sure who else from Rochester sits on that committee, but I know education. Advocacy, as I mentioned, that's another. Oh, Mary, you sitting on that committee too? I see your name pop up every once in a while, so it's hard to keep track of where everybody is. But yeah, so we appreciate everybody's volunteerism, that's for sure. Another one, the advocacy that we're trying to tie together, I'm not sure everyone knows, but the board did make a decision to start working on our legal manual. So the legal manual is under review. We do have a chair for the legal manual. I'm drawing a blank on her name at the moment. But if you're interested even in getting involved in the legal manual, you can reach out to NYHIMA at the central office, and they'll get you connected with that committee as well. So that committee is up and going. So we do need to update this slide as well, because that's a new committee that started this year. So they are meeting, and we're excited to hopefully have it wrapped up. We do have a couple attorneys that are willing to review it for us to give us their blessing to make sure that we're heading in the right spot. But we're hopeful to have that back to our members in relatively soon.
I did just recently join the membership committee, and we've been making a lot of progress in the last month or so. So
yes,
you're right. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Thank you for your feedback. I do see your emails come through.
Yeah.
So yes. Thank you, Seth. I forgot that. Like I said, I remember when I see the names. I don't remember, but I forget where everybody's located. But yeah, I have seen emails from you and your participation, so we greatly appreciate that.
For sure.
I won't repeat that one again. That's the same one. But the next one is just the contact information. But if anybody has any questions, I know that was a lot to throw in a little less than 30 minutes. But if anybody has any questions, I will certainly do my best to answer them. If not, try to get you the answers.
So this is Paula. I just have a question. I co-host, if you will, the long-term care special interest group in the Rochester area and have for a long time. I know that our main coordinator, Mary, sent an email to NYHIMA kind of checking in to see if they had any plans on updating the long-term care coding guideline document that had been created a long many time ago. Even offering to kind of sit on that committee if there was a committee of people. We don't have enough strong membership. We have a lot of new members to be able to put this together on our own. So I'm just wondering if there's a specific person that should be sent to, because our email kind of got left unresponded to.
I'm not aware of any specifically with the long-term care. I know there's been mention about some of the coding resources that they had at one time. With the coding roundtables, we actually have the coding roundtable chairperson that sits on the education committee. So either Karen Getman or Leslie Mills, they might be your best resource, being that the coding is under that group.
Okay,
So
and
maybe
are
you
there,
might even attend the education meeting and see there too. But I haven't heard of it, but I can always let Mike know too, see if there's any emails out there that he may have missed. But,
okay, are there emails on the NYHIMA website? I'll say that I
Yes.
have not digged for them. Okay,
yes,
perfect.
yep,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Yep, so Karen Getman or Leslie Mills.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Does anyone else have any other questions for Jeffrey or for the RRHIMA Board of Directors?
All right, well, I'll pass it over to you. And thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you. And
My
thank
pleasure.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
My pleasure.
Bye.
Thank you,
Yeah,
guys.
thank you,
Thank
Jeffrey.
you.
Thank you. Bye.
So that's the end of our meeting, and unless somebody has any questions, we're gonna be ending up here. We wanted to end up right at 1. We're a couple minutes ahead of time, so we can get back to work. Thank you everyone for attending our mid-year business meeting. We are recording this, so we're going to need to put it on our social media so other members can watch it if they want to.
That's
So
great.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.